Incredible. But now, we'll find out how a chance encounter with Paul McCartney boosted his career when we chat to him soon. But first, let's take a listen to Kiwi musician Glenn Aitken and Just Know.
Something disturbs me. These questions I don't want to hear. Pawns and show what way to go. Get out of here. Preaching things indoors on body blows, and I'm fine. Till that nobody knows it, and nobody shows it, and nobody knows it, and just know. Choosing where to go, and then bruising those who show why mother's child had to run by. Nobody knows. 7 with a smile, let your bullets fly, let the reaper sow. Oh, and nobody knows it, and nobody shows it, and nobody knows it, and nobody shows it, and nobody knows it, and just know. Just know. Something disturbs me, and nobody knows it, and nobody shows it, and nobody knows it, and nobody shows it, and nobody knows it, and nobody shows it, and nobody knows it, and just know, just know, just know, just know, just know, just know. The pawns and show what way to go. Get out of here. Preach the things he knows on the body blows, and I'm fine till that something disturbs me.
Very nice.
You can see why
very nice.
Paul McCartney was impressed, can't you?
Anyway, that was Glenn Aitken with Just Know. We'll chat with Glenn and hear his amazing story about a fateful meeting with Sir Paul McCartney soon.
Our next guest was just about to give up on his music dreams when a beachside performance completely changed his life. I'd like to welcome Glenn Aitken to the Good Morning Coach.
Good morning, how are you doing?
Nice to have you here.
Great
so
to be here.
Where were you playing this beachside performance and what happened?
Well, it's one of those thunderbolts from the blue. I was on a small patch of desert island in the Maldives.
What were you doing there?
I was working for Hilton, actually. I was the entertainment and marketing manager. But I was playing music there 3 nights a week, as I'd been playing music all around the world. It sort of led me to the Maldives. But I'd resigned from my job there, and I was due to just pursue my own interests. musically, and the last 3 weeks of my tenure there were the 3 weeks that somebody came along and noticed my music.
And who was that person?
Well, it was Sir Paul McCartney, actually.
That's quite remarkable.
Strangely, yeah.
So what happened? So you were doing a gig on the beach,
yep.
and he was there with his wife, ex-wife Heather.
Heather, that's right, yeah, at the time. And, well, I was the marketing manager, so I was briefed on, we had a huge celebrity coming to the resort. I didn't know who it was, and the day that he arrived, they told me who it was, and I said, what are the chances of that happening? And I really hoped that he'd get to see me play. And he just arrived, but the first night he heard there was music on, so away he came, sat in the front, right up the front, and yeah, he really enjoyed himself, which is great.
Weren't you nervous? I'd be terrified.
Well, I think as a performer, you get used to playing in front of audiences, and he was another guest, but you really are aware, I think, of how great he is, you know. And it was funny when he walked into the bar, because everybody would look around to see who it was, and then everybody would look back at you to see how you would react having somebody so great, you know, in front of you.
It must have been. Now, how long ago was this? How many years ago?
This was in 2003, actually.
Okay, so 8 years ago, a while ago. So, how did that? Did he talk to you afterwards? What happened?
Yeah, he came up to me and chatted and said, hey, he really loved it. And I actually played Blackbird to him, which was the first song that I heard that made me want to learn guitar all those years ago. So it was great. And then the next day I met up with him, and we got talking, and he asked me to play a private dinner for him, just by the lagoon, just him and Heather and myself. And he chose all the songs to play, and, you know, chose lots of Beatles songs, which is quite daunting, you know.
That's so weird.
And it's one of those very surreal things where, you know, you're at this, just the three of you on the edge of a lagoon in the evening, and you're playing music to one of the greatest icons of our you know, musically of our time.
What was Heather like?
Fantastic. I mean, she's a lovely, well, for, you know, to me and my wife, she's been nothing but a great friend, you know. Was
it hard for you when they had such a horrible, acrimonious breakup as a colleague or a friend of theirs?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those surreal things being involved with a celebrity of such magnitude, I think, because they are a friend, you know. We'd get together for dinners, and we'd see them socially, and he came up and saw me play and got up and played with me, and, you know, that sort of surreal stuff sort of happens. But again, you always want what's best for them, and I think, you know, in retrospect, I think it wasn't to be, you know, it wasn't meant to be. But at the same time, you know, it's given me this great opportunity to get my music out there, because after this private dinner, he offered to publish my music in London. He called me up a couple of days later and said, look, because he asked me to play some originals, and he said, look, those songs you played, I've been singing them in my head for the last couple of days. This is what I want to do, and it's just one of those tunnel vision moments where your life changes forever, you know. So how did it change? You went back to London, you put an album together with him? Well, it really was the beginning of the ladder, I suppose. I mean, I've always been walking the longer path, I think, playing music in China and Malaysia and Bali, and really away from New Zealand since '95. And it was really about getting on that ladder, really getting out in the singer-songwriter circuit, writing songs, entering in the contest.
Because you did well at a few
That's right, yeah. And that's great, you know, when you see your writing sort of get to a level where you think, OK, I'm getting there. Then attracting sort of, you know, the right producer for my music, and finding investment. I mean, obviously, it's with an independent label, but I'm really happy that even though Paul has opened a door, I've sort of walked through it by myself, you know, finding investors and getting business plans together, and finding funding for the album, and finally getting that project out as a reality. So tell me about the album Extraordinary Lives, because Paul McCartney does actually play on it as well, doesn't he? He is. And amazing. Again, I know, and again, that's just such a story in itself, is that the day he did the session was the day he was at the High Court doing his divorce settlement with Heather. And he'd cancelled everything for the entire week, and we were in a studio, Tin Pan Alley in London, just thinking, you know what, he's never going to show up. And he did. He came from the High Court to the studio in a taxi, hopped out, come in, hey Glenn, how you doing? Big hug, picks up his Hofner, picks up, you know, the Beatles bass, and goes in and records just such a majestic bass line to a song he didn't even know. He didn't know, he hadn't had time to learn the song. And I gave him the chords, and we just said, Paul, just play what you feel. And he changed that song in ways that I could never have foreseen. It was a wonderful moment. And again, that's true greatness to me, someone's strength of conviction.
That's right. Oh, look, it was such a fabulous story. And I know you are actually in New Zealand. You're not performing, but you're planning a tour. And you came as a surprise for your parents in Hamilton. So hi, Mum and Dad.
Hi, Dad.
That's so nice that you did that. Wonderful stuff. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks again.
Brilliant stuff. And for more on Glenn's music, you can check out our website, tvnz.co.nz/goodmorning. And stay tuned. Kate de Goldie's in with her book picks, plus cute craft alert. Fifi's making felt mice right after the break. See you soon.